If you've suffered from unexpected job loss, then you do know the importance of an emergency fund. Emergency funds are finances that help you to manage unexpected expenses, including job losses, maybe unexpected financial crisis, unexpected hospital bills, and those other emergencies that need funds that is an emergency. Emergency funds give you some comfort when you're doing your investments, when you're running your errands, while you're at work. You have this comfort that at least you have something to turn to. At least in case this investment fails, I have something in my account that can help me, that can boost me. That is the importance of having an emergency fund. I wanna hear you sing it. Hey, mama, don't stress your mind. We coming. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Ann Kiki and welcome. So today I'm going to be telling you how to build an emergency fund from scratch. In case you don't know, an emergency fund is an extra account that you put money in case of any emergency. These are funds that you do not use. When it comes to emergency funds, we always encourage you to have savings that can be equivalent to 6 months of your salary. That is the minimum, but you can have more, of course. Make sure before you can settle for anything less, at least you have 6 months of salary in your account, whatever you're getting. Although some people usually build an emergency funds based on the expenses they do, but I always figure out you cannot have an expense that is higher than your salary. So when it comes to emergency fund, in comparison with salary is the most relatable thing. So how to build an emergency fund? Definitely, the first thing is to set a goal, set your financial goal. At the back of your mind, have something you want to achieve. Know what you want to achieve and within what period of time. Most of the time, as I've said, we always encourage 6 months of your salary. So when you're starting your emergency fund, at the back of your mind, you know that you want to start by saving 6 months of your salary. Now, because you cannot just grow this overnight, give yourself enough time. So you can set a period of maybe 1.5 years. By the next 1.5 years, you want to have your emergency fund account with at least 6 months of your salary. Now, once you have a goal, the next thing is to start small. Do not overburden yourself. You don't want to burn out at the end of the day because you still need yourself to work and you don't want to pressure yourself so much. So you have to begin from where you are, depending on the amount of salary that you're getting, depending on how much your expenses are. Start from wherever you are. Do not mind. We always start from scratch. Now, the next thing is to automate savings. This is whereby, in case you have a salary, that is, if you're building an emergency funds from your salary, then you can automatically be saving the amount that you want in your savings account, in your emergency funds account. Because when you have automated savings, it helps you to avoid defaulting yourself any month. Because ukisema utakuwa unajilipia kila month, then you find yourself some months you forget to do it, or some months you find you've gotten an emergency and all those things. So the best thing I always advise is just automate it, so that every time your salary ikifika tu inakatwa, and it prevents you from unnecessary overthinking, and also it helps you to follow the goal that you've set for yourself. Now, the next thing is to use windfalls. This is whereby you use any unexpected amount that comes your way. You may get unexpected funding. Maybe you may get a bonus from your job. You may get probably tax reliefs. Any unexpected money that you get, use it to build your emergency fund. You may get a high profit in your business at an expected time. Use all this money, or even if you don't use all of it, at least use a portion of it to build your emergency fund, because the goal of an emergency fund is comfort, and the faster that you're able to build this emergency fund, the better for you. So you should be taking advantage of all these extra incomes that you're getting on the side to build your emergency fund. Another thing is to cut all unnecessary expenditures. For example, impromptu shoppings, buying things that you're not going to use. Like us ladies, we love buying clothes and jewelry that we actually do not use. You can actually cut those unnecessary expenses and use that money to build your emergency fund. So make sure you are captioning each and every amount of money that you're getting from the side and use it to build the emergency fund. It requires a lot of discipline for you to do these things. Another thing that is very, very important is to use a separate account. For emergency fund, make sure you're not using the same account as your salary. Because if you use the same account, you end up spending the money. So for me, when I was starting to build my emergency fund, I had to open a separate bank account, and don't touch that bank account. Like, it is just for depositing money. But there are many ways to do it. You know what is good for you. But I always advise the bank because it is a safe way of keeping your money, and because some circles are not to be trusted. If you decide to use a circle, make sure you use a circle that is common, that is known, because I have seen circles fail. I have seen circles walk away with so much money for people. So make sure that you choose a bank account that will not fail you. Imagine saving 6 months salary and then yote iende. So when it comes to choosing, you have to choose a good and a stable bank. Do not use the same account as your salary, because there will be a mix-up, number one, and also because you will not be able to do nothing with savings. We all know we don't have financial discipline, so just try to have a separate bank account. Now, this is so normal. In case you use that fund, make sure you replenish it. Make sure umeirudisha. It is normal that when you're saving, you might get an emergency along the way. So in case, let's say you had saved 50,000, ukute umepata kitu inahitaji like 30,000. In case you use that money, make sure you replenish it back, umeirudisha, so that at least you can continue building your emergency fund. Ukikosa tu kurudisha hiyo pesa, just know you are killing yourself. You're killing your emergency fund savings, and it cannot work like that. So in case of any emergency along the way, just ensure you are able to return that money, to refund it back every time. Even once you're done, maybe you might build your emergency fund, usikie sasa this is enough, this money is enough in case of an emergency, and then now you get an emergency later. Anytime you get an emergency and use that fund, ensure you will always come back and start saving again, start returning that money again. Now, another thing is consistency, because in everything you have to be very, very consistent. Even when you're starting a business, even if you want to do something, you need to be consistent. So when it comes to building emergency funds, you definitely also need to be consistent. Make sure you're not that person who starts saving today and then unapotea miezi tano, because if you're not consistent, you will never ever be able to build that emergency fund. For me, when I was starting to build my emergency fund, what I did, I actually started by creating a different bank account. And I can tell you guys, the first months were the worst for me because I was not able to save anything. But then I just sat down and figured out probably I need a serious method of saving this money. So what I did, I just took the initiative of, you see, now the bank where I was receiving my salary, they were to be depositing that money directly. And then now the costs were too much. Like, I just felt like I'm going at a loss. So what I figured out, every time I get, because I'm in so many chamas, actually, chamas are the killer sometimes of your progress. So I decided, because now I want to save money, I have so many chamas, I cannot save. I was having a very little salary. I cannot save this money from chamas and at the same time build my emergency fund. So I decided, all this money that I am keeping in my chamas, let me assume this is savings money. This is my saving. So because chama ni merry-go-round, of course, after maybe a few months, nafikiwa. Now, the good thing with my chamas, I have chamas which in most of them were less than 12. So in every year lazima ufikiwe. So you find in that whole year I had 3 rounds. Na zikikuja ni pesa mzuri. So you find like one, the minute your turn comes, you get 20,000 pap. So I decided this money, because it is like a savings also, because chama ni kama saving, only that it does not have profit. So every time I get my merry-go-round, I pick all that money and deposit. And actually that's how I built my emergency fund with time. Obviously this one now was very, very time consuming. It took some time, not even some time, it took me a lot of time, but you can actually start from scratch, guys. At the beginning I said you just need to start small. So that's how I started. Every time nikipata pesa ya chama, I don't even touch a coin. Nachukua yote na deposit kwa account. Anyway, there are so many ways to do this. You can actually do it your own style. In case you've started your emergency fund, please comment down below. Tell us how you go about it. I believe there is no formula for this as long as you have an emergency fund. So just ensure at the end of this video, when you figure out your finances, figure out what you're going to need, and start your emergency fund as soon as now, because in case of an emergency, you guys are going to come and thank me later. I have suffered job losses and I know how much important emergency funds come through. Unaweza kuta umefutwa kazi unakosa hata fare ya kurudi kwako. Like seriously, you really need to have some extra income in your accounts. At least even when you're working and you know that you have an emergency fund, you don't mind a lot. You don't work as if this is going to be the end of your life. You work in a free manner, knowing that if today this job fails, I have something to turn to, and also I have maybe rent to pay for the next 6 months. I have money to sustain me for the next 6 months or more. So depending with your goal, you don't have to stop. You can always keep building your finances, keep building your emergency funds. And in case you need more of this related kind of videos, just like this video so that I will know, and I'll be doing more of the finance videos, guys. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'm hoping it was useful. I hope you guys have benefited from this video, and I'm hoping to see you guys in the next video. Until next time, bye guys.